Right, welcome to Rivals. I'm Rick Salitso, not that that matters. Joining me, we've got Sir John Kirwan. So welcome, Sir John. And from South Africa, Victor Matfield. So welcome, Victor. Sorry for waking you up. This is so early in the morning, 9:30.
Rick, nice to meet you. Do you get those glasses when you're a surf? Because I want them as well.
Yeah.
I need to be a surf first.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
you too. So a couple of things just early in the piece, Victor. Ricardo was my captain at school. He was a number 8, and I will not let any forwards talk to me about fashion.
Okay.
It's just not something you guys should worry about. Just leave the fashion to me.
You should come over to SA. All the fashion boys are in the front row these days.
Yeah, that's because they're the highest paid players. Back in the day,
Yeah.
it used to be the wingers, Victor. Now the bloody props are the highest paid players in the world.
No,
They're wearing
sure.
gel and bloody all the fancy gears, mate.
Most valuable players.
It's wrong.
You have to pay them.
Tell me how that happened, Victor. How did the prop become the most valuable player?
It's always actually been. New Zealand is just kind of, I don't know, hided away. 1 or 2 tries from yourself or John Ilona, and all of a sudden, that's what it was about. It's always been the hard work of the forwards. The passages there at the end, maybe in the last 10 or 20 minutes, they can do something, but it's a 80 minutes fight between the real rugby players up front.
Now, this last week or so, the World Rugby's sort of moved the whole 20-minute red card to a full global trial. So, what do you gentlemen think of the idea that all games will have you get a red card, you have out for 20 minutes, and you can sub a new player? And are you comfortable with that?
No.
I think 20 minutes is too long. I think they should bring the guy back after 10 minutes with someone else.
Yeah, like for me, look, this is my issue. I think that, we've forgotten the fan. So I don't think I really liked Victor. I really liked the referee in the European Cup final who said, yeah, there was no malice in that. It's only a yellow card, right?
Yeah.
Because he looked at it properly. And let's not start on the TMOs, or let's start on the TMOs. So for me, Ricardo, what about the fan? Like, if I paid, like, this is the World Cup final. Let's go back to that. And I've paid 400 or 500 euro, and then Sam Cane gets sent off. And then Sia Corlesi, who I thought should have been sent off. Now, there was all sorts of different things. And I didn't want either of them to be sent off, right? But all of a sudden, at the end of the game, you go, this didn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. Whereas I believe if there is malice, then the player should be sanctioned, fined, and have a longer sanction at the end of the game. But why should the fan suffer? What happened if that was a red card in the European Cup final and one team loses because of it? Is that the right result? So I understand player safety. I understand that we don't want to touch the head. But for me, it's more a technical issue, and the player should suffer post. If there's malice, right? If there's malice, then that's another issue. But I don't think there is anymore.
John, are you arguing a completely different subject with me? I'm saying, what about coming on, replacing a player after 20 minutes? You're saying,
I'm saying no
you're
red
not
card.
happy. No red cards at all.
No.
I agree 100% with John Kirwan. Can you believe it?
Shit, that's unreal. Are you taping this, Ricardo? Because that's the first time Victor Matfield's agreed with me ever.
We want to look after our players. But again, I think if you look back, before we all focus on this head contact, I never remember a game where there was head contact. It wasn't something that was part of the game. And a lot of these head contacts isn't that severe. When do players get injured? Go have a look at it. It's when you're the tackler, when you hit a hip or a knee or a foot or something. That's most of the time. All these accidental head clashes, there's no one that's really getting injured. There's no concussions or anything. So, and I'm with John again. It's about intent. If someone runs from the side with a swinging arm, hitting someone against it, send him off the whole game. But if it's an accident, and it happens in rugby, there's change of direction, by accident you get a hit. No player wants to hit his own head against someone else's head. Understand? How can you, and again, then it comes back to consistency, what John was saying in the World Cup final this weekend. Again, I also love it. It was never a red card in that European final. I mean, he went in, his position was good. The attacker dipped a little bit, head against head. Yellow card. But I mean, a week ago, the same thing happened with Damien Willemse. In a normal pool game, got a red card, he's suspended for 3 weeks. He can't play in the semi-final or final. Same incident. So, firstly, the consistency is not there. Secondly, is there intent or not? If there's not intent to hurt someone, I don't think it can be a red card. And then the third thing, what John is saying, I mean, there's millions of people watching the World Cup final. There's 80,000 people that bought tickets to fly to France, that paid their tickets. They want to see 15 versus 15. They don't want a game to be decided by one incident in the 10th minute of a game. They want to see 15 versus 15, going at each other and having a spectacle on the day.
So, Ricardo, I'll ask you this, because I always talk about technique. Okay, a tackler should be at that technique, right? This is the legs, this is the torso, right? If I'm running an attack and I drop to that level and hit head, whose fault is it? Right? So we need to talk about the TMO. We need to be way more intelligent with the technology we've got. So instead of the ref deciding, just look at his back. If the guy's like that, right, in a tackle, if he's like that, he's always going to ride up. So when you look at, I watch the replays from a technical point of view. And if a player's down like that and this player comes to him, who's at fault, right? And this game happens so fast. That's what we don't realise on the sideline, and even the TMO doesn't realise. The game happens so fast. If you change your footing, so I believe we can red card them, but they should be replaced straight away, because then the fan doesn't lose any money. Okay, so red card him, good, but he's replaced straight away. Why should the opposition team or the team that's been red carded suffer when it wasn't on purpose? Because what are the values of our game? The values of our game are fair contest. Okay, as soon as someone gets red carded, it's not a fair contest. So we're going away from actually the constitution of our game. Why did we agree with the South Africans and do lifting in the line out? Right? Because we wanted it to be a fair contest. Why have we got the jackal at the ruck? Because we want it to be a fair contest. Right? That is the fundamental constitution of our game, and yet we send someone off.
I mean, if you take a boxer, you decide to go into a boxing match to punch each other in the face. Same thing. If you do UFC fighting, and I'm a big fan, you go into that ring, that's your sport. Same with rugby. We could go on ballroom dancing if we want, to play cricket or whatever. We decided we wanted to play this game, and we know there's going to be risk. Yes, of course, you want it fair and you want it clean. But of course, there's risk in it. You can nothing can go wrong, and you can tore your ligaments in your knee or your shoulder goes. That's part of the game. So I don't know why we're overreacting on little injuries that happens now and then.
So listen, Ricardo, I'll explain it to you then, because it looks like you're confused. We're okay with red cards, but you must replace them straight away with a player, and then we deal with the player the next day, and he gets either fined or whatever, right? But we should not ever be playing for 15 against 14.
Yes.
Because for me, that is not in the core constitution of the game. If it's malice, give the guy 8 weeks. If it's not, then actually just let someone play on.
Agree.
Did you get that, Ricardo, or do you want me to write it to you in an email?
I understand. No, don't write it because the spelling will be wrong. But what I'm trying to work out is, it's nice to see you agreeing. How about this one, JK? Are you a big fan of the bomb squad?
Oh, no, shut up. Now, don't even bring that up. That's ridiculous. You know, I am totally against it. And I'm totally against the bomb squad for not dissimilar reasons for the red card, right? Our game is made up of 15 players and reserves, right? And those reserves are there for what? To cover injuries, to cover someone, to make a tactical change.
I like the tactical change.
Yeah, okay, but how safe is it then if we're talking about player safety? Putting on, 5 unbelievably physical South Africans that weigh bloody 200 kilos when the opposition is tiring. Do you think that's safe for the game? I don't believe it is. So I think we need more fatigue in our game. We don't need guys coming on who are incredibly fit, incredibly strong, and being able to tackle someone who or go into a ruck with someone who's actually maybe a bit fatigued. Because I think we need more fatigue in our game. That would be more tries, like we're seeing in Super Rugby at the moment. So for me, the bomb squad is about slowing the game down. It's about dominating a certain type of rugby, and I just don't agree with it.
Well, I had a look at Formula One this weekend, and I thought about it. So why don't they start the race with tyres and finish the race with tyres? And they have to go through that whole race at, and manage the tyres. Don't go too hard, don't go too quick, and finish the race, because that's also a skill. And I think that's the same as rugby. And it's not like that. The moment you feel your tyres aren't ready, yes, you're going to spend a few seconds in the pits, but then you come out with new tyres. And I think rugby is the same. Unfortunately, it's not a 15-man game anymore. It's a 23-man game. And the guys on the bench are not there for reserves. They're there because they can bring something different to the game if you need that. And secondly, is you want to use them. I think before Russie, everyone was just there because they was always worried because the guy on the bench was second best, third best. Now Russie went out, he had a look at it. How can I use all 23 players that's in that match day squad to get the best result? And a lot of the time we see fantastic tries when those guys come on because they've got different skills. You can maybe start with Andre Pollard. That's technically good. It will get you in the corners. It will play the pressure game. Then in the second half, you can bring on a Mani Lebok or Sasha that can open up the game with different type of players. So I think it brings a lot of excitement in that last 20 minutes if you bring a different type of play on. And a lot of the time you see quite nice tries, even nice small tries. It's beautiful to watch in
Nice
its
small
last
try,
15
Victor. A nice
minutes
small try. A
from
nice
20
small
meters
try.
out. And there's
A
nothing
nice
prettier
small
than that.
try.
We love that. You can't get
No,
better than a more try from
that
20 meters
wasn't
out.
Victor. That wasn't the question. The question was, do you like the bomb squad?
I do like the bomb squad because they bring something different. And in the last 20 minutes, there's an impact that you're almost waiting for. In South Africa, the people, the moment that bomb squad come, they go mad in the stands because they know something's going to happen. There's new tactics going to happen, and there's new energy on the field as well.
So you replace 3/4 of your scrum and line out.
Yeah, but remember, to do that, you take a risk. Let's say you get two back injuries, then one of your loose forwards need to go play on the wing, and that gives opportunity for opposition if they know how to attack that. So it's all about risk and reward. And I think in any game, that's tactics. How are you going to use the players that you are allowed to use in a game to your benefit?
Yeah, you just don't give the backs the ball, Victor. That's all in the last 20 minutes.
But you
Don't
just
bother,
need to
mate.
win the game. You just need to win. How many 4 World Cups? That's all you need to do. And you're happy.
I knew that was going to come out. Knew that was going to come out.
And that's a nice thing about rugby. There's different styles, there's different tactics. How you want to play the game, how you win games. No one is playing the same. And I think we never want to take that away. Certain teams, I mean, if you look at the Heineken Cup or the Champions Cup, Bordeaux, they've got a pack of forwards that work hard, that gives them just good ball, and their backs win the game for them because they can play a certain style. A Bath is more forward oriented, even with a Finn Russell at 10, playing the pressure game. And I think we shouldn't change that. In international rugby, it's the same. The Springboks can never win World Cups the way the All Blacks do. I mean, Ireland can never play the way the All Blacks or South Africa do. So,
But Victor, if the rules and how you can use the bench give South Africa, because of their DNA, an unfair advantage, do you think that's fair? Do you think that makes our game fair?
if you look at Glasgow, a team like Glasgow is also using it now. It's not just South Africa. Glasgow is also using it very well at this stage.
I'm talking at international level now, though, right? I want a faster game. I don't want a slower game. So I don't know if you've been watching Super Rugby, because it sounds like you've changed to a Northern Hemisphere person, Victor. I think you've moved on from the Southern Hemisphere. But, for me, I am loving Super Rugby, and the crowds are up and the amount of time that the game is in play is up. But my biggest fear is that could be negative towards us being able to play at international level, right? But I want the game to be faster. I want the game to have more fatigue. And I think that's the health and safety issue. More fatigue, then the players won't change. They'll just lose weight. They'll just lose size. They won't be as big. But I want more time, more play time. I don't want to see a scrum reset 3 times. I know you love that shit, but I hate it. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't attract new crowds.
No, they can just give us a penalty at the first time it goes down because the guys didn't want to scrum against us. So that's easy. And then, you talk about it. When last did you see a number 9 play 80 minutes? They don't do it anymore because why? They fatigue. They want to speed up the game, like you said. All the 9s get replaced because they want to bring speed into the game. But when everyone was doing that, no one was saying nothing about shouldn't the 9 get fatigued because on the fence maybe he'll be in a worse place. No one said nothing. All of a sudden, Rassie used his strength to his advantage. Now everyone is going on about it.
I've got no issues with Rassie. I think he's the most innovative coach we've had in a long, long time. So, I think he's done some amazing things. And I think, obviously, you've won 4 World Cups, and Rassie's been a massive part of that. I just don't agree with the bomb squad. I just don't agree with that type of rugby. I want to see rugby changed where we're playing 55, 60 minutes of real time.
So just to clarify, so on one side you've got one person that's
aren't
saying,
you listening, Ricardo? Aren't you listening?
I am. You're saying that you want rugby that suits you, and Victor's saying that he wants rugby that suits him and his country. Isn't that the choice? Like, shouldn't we choose the type of rugby that suits the DNA of the country, or is it really our place to tell South Africa what they can do with their substitutes?
No, I get that, Ricardo, but the trouble is the rules need to be universal for everybody. So if you can muck around in the scrum, if you can slow it down, if you can reset it, and waste a minute and a half, 2 minutes, then for me, that is not how the game should be played.
So, John, can I come in here? So South African, our domestic competition, 3 years ago, under us and them, we also won the ball in play up in the game. We started with this whole only 30 seconds before a lineup. We tested that because we wanted ball in play as well. We don't want it to slow down, but we want to be able to, let's say, scrum for a penalty. We don't want guys to just go to the ground and nothing happens. We want to use our strength. We want to be able to maul. If we can maul for 50 meters and score a try, we love that. And that's our strength, and we don't want to go away from that. So we want ball in play. We don't care about the game being slow. We also get frustrated, but we want to use our physicality, and that's why the boom squad. So now, Rassie tells the guy, we want ball in play. Let's go for 40 minutes. We don't have to slow it down because there's someone else coming on that's going to do it for the next 40 minutes. So it's not just a 60-20. So we also want the ball up. We're just using more players in the game to get to do that with the physicality, with the size of the players we've got to play.
I think we should just try and bring everyone together. It's all about bringing the world together. And there's a special relationship between New Zealand and South Africa and rugby. And JK, you were part of the 92 tour that was the first team to go back to South Africa after the boycott. And the other day I managed to find some old home video footage from that tour. So I want you to have a look at this. This is the 92 tour of South Africa with the All Blacks.
Someone's got bad feet. Someone's got bad feet.
probably one of the most amazing times of my life. Being part of history. I dreamed of playing against the Springboks all my life. I got up 72 tour when Brian Williams scored that try under the post. So for me it was just this amazing career opportunity. I think one amazing evening we were both South Africa and New Zealand. We had a barbecue, and because of security, because Mandela had just been released from prison and was going for president or prime minister or whatever it is. So we had a barbecue, Victor. There was Mandela de Klerk, our prime minister, which was Jim Bolger at the time, and both teams. And because of safety, they got us to go down into a thing in Johannesburg, into mine for safety. So, I got down there and I thought, shit, I'm just not happy with this. Mandela's over there, de Klerk's there. It was an incredible time. I think from a rugby point of view, it was just neat to be back, playing. We'd come off an Australian, so because it was tagged on to the end of the Australian trip, we'd been 8 weeks in South Africa or 7 weeks in South Africa, and then off to South Africa. But just the beauty of the country, the passion that the people have for the game. It's probably the only equivalent would be New Zealand. So, and the rivalry was picked up straight away. So it'll always be a special tour for me. You were probably a bit young then, Victor.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born at least. I must say, I'm so excited for the tours to come back. I think it's next year when South Africa or New Zealand's touring the other country. And that rivalry and that respect for each other is just something you won't find anywhere else. Any South African boy just want to test himself against the best, who is the All Blacks. In the how many years that rugby has been played, the All Blacks probably for 70% of the time were the number one team in the world. So you want to test yourself against them. It's always hard, but the respect's there. I think New Zealanders love to come here. We love to go to New Zealand because the love for rugby is there. And I can't wait for these tours to start again.
Victor, the interesting thing for me, when I get introduced, and this is probably a bit vain for me to say, but when I get introduced, they say I played 63 tests for the All Blacks, but I actually played 96 games. And some of those midweek games, if you played against a French selection on a Wednesday night in Bordeaux, or you play against the Free State, it's as hard, and the people you're playing have take this opportunity to play the best games of their lives. So touring and playing during the week, I reckon, is one of the most amazing things that a rugby player can experience. And I think it makes you a better test player as well, because that you've got to be on your game, and you can try stuff, but it's not test match, but it's not far away because the opposition are just so passionate. So bring back tours.
Yeah, no, for sure. For those youngsters that maybe haven't played a test, to tour for 4 weeks with those experienced test players, and just to see how they do things, to become part of that culture. I think I had one tour, 2000, as a midweek player to the UK. And just to be in that squad, to be in the same bus as the US van der Vestes or Mark Andrews, was just unbelievable. And it was such a great learning curve. So, I can't wait for these tours to come back. And that's why the British and Irish tour is so special, because there's certain players that might not ever play a test match, but they get the opportunity to test them against the best in the world.
Oh, shit, there's Portia.
Portia, hey.
Hi.
Portia, you've got Victor Matfield, John Kirwan, and Rick Salizzo on the call.
Awesome. Lovely to be here, guys.
So, Portia, first of all, congratulations on a great win and 7 tries. You must have wrapped with that.
Yeah. I think I went into that game kind of questioning my abilities a little bit based on the Canadian game, but then obviously going through that game, those questions kind of left my mind for sure.
Portia, you retired and you've come out of retirement. So tell us that process.
I think when I was talking about retirement with my agent and my whānau, it was like, I want to have a baby, 2026. What are some opportunities that I can get into? And so that's where that kind of talk came from was, okay, well, let's try play as much rugby or international stuff or try different opportunities as much as I can. And then with World Cup just around the corner, I thought, man, why not? It's only a little way away. I can put my heart and soul into it. And if I don't get there, then fine, Kate Pai, all good. But if I do, then it's another opportunity that I get to, I guess, have a crack at the World Cup. So yeah, it was a short retirement. My wife kind of gives me crap for it, but I
Good
think
on
it's
you.
for the both of us. It's the same thing.
Yeah, good on you. You're long time retired. I wouldn't worry about it at all. So the interesting thing for me, though, Portia, was the sevens wahine came back into the team. Was that difficult to manage? Was there any conflict or anything like that?
No, that's the really cool thing, I think. As the women's game has really developed and progressed, there's no animosity between any players. You have Amy Duplessis, who's been a consistent member of the Black Ferns for the last few years. And then you have Stacey Waka coming in. Amy Duplessis is right there supporting every single one of us, even me as a winger. She's there at the end of every training. What do you need? Do you need help with this? She's sending clips. Same with Aisha Letienga. Kennedy, like you've got these girls who've been fully committed to the Black Ferns, and then you have someone else come into the environment. Like women playing rugby is the best thing, and so if we can get the best team there, then it's the best thing for the Black Ferns.
Well, the men's need to learn from that, I reckon, because I think that disconnection is wrong, and I think if we work pretty hard, then they can play both. The other interesting thing for me is the female game has grown. It's been incredible to watch, not only from ability point of view, but also just the whole growth of the sport. I mean, can the female player now actually make a decent living? How is it commercially?
I think, yeah, it's definitely on the rise. Like, I think if I was to look back to when I first started, there wasn't a lot out there for us, and I think the more that the game is out there, the more the girls are being seen, the more people can relate to each player, and then products and companies see value in having these girls, say, commercially on a product or some kind of thing. Like, I'm lucky enough, I'm with MasterCard, and we have a really cool partnership in that sense. There's some really decent money out there, and obviously it's the very top few at the moment, and we'd love to see that trickle down through some of the other girls. But as long as we're still understanding that the girls have their stories, and if we can get their stories out there, have people connect with those stories, relate to those stories, then promotion and commercial stuff will come to those players.
Victor, I know there's just two wingers, but do you want to have
Yeah,
a forwards
maybe from
question?
my side, I think first from my side, I need to apologise. I think in South Africa we were pretty conservative about the women's game. I was always, should women play rugby? But my mind changed completely. I think it started with the sevens. Unbelievable to watch them watch. And then the previous World Cup, unbelievable. I actually need advice to grow the game globally, but also in South Africa. What did they get right? What can we do more in South Africa actually to develop our game? Because we've got so much talent here as well.
I think the biggest part that I think we're really fortunate within New Zealand is we have people who are working really hard from the grassroots level, creating pathways for players, for women. And when we get to the top level, there's some decent development now happening. About 10, 12 years ago, it was still very slow to see that progress through. And I think now we're seeing the growth from high school through to club, through to FPC, and through all those different pathways. There's a better, clearer pathway through it. And I think if we were to start over again, or if I was to look back and think, how can we progress these even faster, was just to create that development through the grassroots level. I came into rugby through a scouting process called Go for Gold, which brought in athletes from all sorts of sporting backgrounds to have a crack at rugby. And we found some really talented athletes from netball, from swimming, from wrestling. I think that's helping out with the development and creating that pathway to that elite level. But obviously, we can always do more work within that pathway. I think the pathway for 15s is a lot clearer than it is for 7s at the moment. But that development at grassroots is really important.
I think comfortable too, Victor. One of the things that happened at the Maher Rugby Club is we weren't really set up for our female players, and so once you make the female player feel comfortable, so, a female changing room, integrate them into everything that you do, then we've just seen this massive boom at our club. So, I think you've got to be conscious of it, which is important. And then once you create that, then, wow, you can see some incredible growth. Our female game's growing at an incredible rate. Portia, tell me about England. So that's a new team that we can love to hate, right? So they've been incredible in the last few years. We managed to snatch that win off them in the last World Cup, but we've got a World Cup coming up. What do we need to do to stop their dominance?
I think when you look at England, they've got some really strong forward pack, and they've got forwards that run fast, and they're agile just like a backline. You've got Sarah Byrne, who's a prop, who's keeping up with their first fives, with their wingers. We need to have some kind of power like that. At the moment, we're still kind of gelling. I think in that last Pac 4 series, we're still learning what each other's combinations are like, how we're still playing together. We went through a clunky phase, and so hopefully within the next, we've got 2 test match series before we head into World Cup. Hopefully we can get rid of those clunks. So I think if we can just continue to play the way Black Ferns is, which is fast, dynamic, keeping the ball alive, then we can have a show and having an awesome game against England and anyone else.
Victor, is there interest in the Women's World Cup in South Africa?
Yes, there is. Like I said, I think we've got quite a bit of work to do with development in South Africa, and also to get that female heroes. A lot of, I think our daughters they watch sevens, they see the New Zealanders, the Australians playing the sevens game a fantastic way, and they look and say, maybe that's an opportunity for us. But I think in South Africa, our grassroots are really slow. The Bulls have started now a professional setup for a club team, and they're doing so well, and they're beating the other clubs by 50, 60 points every week just because they're playing full-time rugby and they're there training every week. So I think we need those heroes that the girls can look up to and can see these are athletes doing a fantastic job. So I think we still need to develop, but we've put Sway's the brain over now to help the girls as well, and the development has been so good. So I think the South African team will be competitive, and they might surprise 1 or 2 teams as well.
Yeah, and it's been fascinating to see Ilona Maher down here in New Zealand, just an Instagram superstar, but such an incredible person, and what she's doing for women's rugby, just bringing so many new fans to the game.
Did she do that? Was she? How did she get this fame? Through the female game? Did she do a couple of other things, Ricardo? You were in America at the same time. Was she dancing with the stars? Was she just really out there? How did she get so many following?
I think the key to Ilona is she's just a great person, and she didn't have a rugby union telling her what to do, or an agent telling her what to do, or a sponsor. She was just so authentic, and she was just so herself, and she did an amazing job telling her story at the Olympics, and so obviously the world's eyes were on the Olympics, and she was one of the most interesting people at the Olympics. And then she just took off, Sports Illustrated, Dancing with Stars. But at the heart of it is she's just a good person being herself. And so she's the most popular rugby player in the world. And Portia ran through her a few times to score some tries.
I love that. Yeah, and she is that what you see on her social media, the character, the person, everything you see on social media is the person in person. Like, she is such a really down-to-earth person, loves the women's game, loves promoting the game. And yeah, it all started from the Olympics. I think she just shared everything and anything at the Olympics in Tokyo, and then it continued in Paris.
And JK, you would have played against Kapana and Fred Woodman?
Yeah, totally. They used to terrorise me up in Whangarei. Great players. I've also always, said to Portia what a great family of rugby, and like, honestly, when I was a young fella, coming up against those boys up north was never ever fun.
Yeah, Dad talks about a lot of those stories of those times back at Auckland Park and playing against the Auckland crew, and how they just had everything and they loved trying to get at you guys.
Totally. And back in those days, we used to smoke cigarettes after the game and have a few beers, and there'd be a punch up on the field. It was good old days, Portia. So there was
That's what
no
Dad
love
always
lost
talks
on the
about.
field, but there was always good fun after.
All right. Well, two-thirds of this call are wishing you all the best at the World Cup and hoping you'll win it. Not sure about Victor.
No, I'll be supporting. I hope I can get over there. I would love to go watch it. I mean, that World Cup final was so unbelievable. And what I like about the women's game, I think the attack still got the upper hand against the Finns. The Finns aren't making it so difficult to attack. So it's a great game to watch.
Yeah. It'll be really cool to get out there. Obviously, it's the biggest World Cup that's ever happened so far. So, talking in final, Black Ferns versus England, maybe.
All the best. We'll let you go, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Now, the rugby at the moment, you've got the European Champions Cups just come to an end with Bordeaux taking it. You've got the Super Rugby coming to an end you've got the Chiefs, the Crusaders, the Brumbies at the top there. You've got Leinster leading the way in the URC, Bath dominating the English Premiership. So if we had a World Club Championship this year, who do you think the semi-finalists would be?
I think Leicester have an issue with understanding how to. Leinster have a problem, I believe, functioning under the biggest pressure, and they'll learn that, right? But I still think they're an outstanding rugby team. I also think the Chiefs, if you saw them against Moana Pacifica the other night, when they're in that sort of mood, unbelievable. And then I also watched Bordeaux. So for me, that Jelly Bear, he can play, Victor. Like reminds me a little bit of Richie Mo'unga, created 2 tries out of nothing. So they would be the third, and then the other couple, I don't know, the last one. So they would be my 3 top at the moment.
Yeah, so for me, I think Bordeaux at this stage is just in a different class. I just spoke about the back and forth, but if you look at that back line, and if you look at all the top teams, they need a 9 and 10 to dominate. And Luca, at the moment, and Jalibert, I must say, is just playing so well. They're controlling the game. They're bringing X factor to the game. And then, of course, Jalibert's got all that players outside of him that can score tries from anywhere. Those 2 wingers as well, again, just unbelievable. And they've got a pack of forwards that really work hard. So, well deserved to win that trophy. So I think they will definitely be there. With John Leinster, although they somehow bugger it up at playoffs time, I still think probably over the season they're the best club team in the world. I think they're making mistakes when it comes to the playoffs. I think they rest their players too much. They don't get momentum going into those playoffs where you'll see a full 18 play and then 15 new guys playing the next week. So I just think the way they manage their players aren't right. And that's why when they get to those semi-finals, final stages, I just don't think they have the cohesion and that momentum behind them. I think they will be very dangerous in the URC going into the finals now because they don't have to worry about the Champions Cup. So they will be difficult. In the third team for me will be Toulouse. Although they lost against Bordeaux, I think Toulouse are still right up there. And then the fourth team, I'll also go with the Chiefs. I don't think South Africa at this stage, with all our top guys playing outside of South Africa, got a team that can compete with those 4 teams. So I say the Chiefs, Toulouse, Bordeaux, and Leinster will be pretty good. And then the other team that we shouldn't throw away is Bath. The way they've played this weekend, they're running away with the premiership. They've already finished first with a week to go. Coached by Johan van Gaal, that I know really well. Probably one of the best coaches in the world, still a young coach. But they are building something very special there. And also got a 9 and 10 in Finn Russell and what's it, Stuart, the captain, Spencer, that can manage the game really well. And they've got a pack of forwards that can stand up to anyone.
Victor, I see your chairman came out the other day, your South Africa chairman, saying that we need to concentrate more on the European Cup. Why don't the ERC South African teams care about the Heineken Cup or the Championship, whatever it's called now?
I think, to be honest, the coaches don't believe they can win that competition yet. I don't think they believe we've got the depth in our squads to compete in both competitions. And up till this year, we weren't allowed to get a home semi-final. So I think they just believe if they need to go overseas, beat Toulouse, beat Leinster 2 weeks in a row, they won't be able to do it. So they're throwing everything towards the URC that they believe they can win, and I think we can win it as well. I still think we need to get past Leinster, but like I said as well, to be honest, I don't think our top teams, and although the Sharks got the team on paper, but they're not playing like it, we don't really have the teams, the quality of players, and the depth. The depth is a big problem to compete with those 3-4 top teams in international at the moment.
And is that because you've got so many players in Japan and playing around the world?
Yeah, I mean, if you take the Bulls team that's playing really well at the moment, they're second on the lock in the URC. If you bring back Andre Pollard, he's coming back next year. You bring back Jesse Creel. You bring back one or two other guys that's not even that well known. Then it's a different team. Then we can compete with those guys. But I still believe it's like in the old days when we played Super Rugby in the beginning when we struggled. Heineke Meyer always said, if you don't have at least 5 guys that's, let's say, around about 50 test matches for South Africa, if you don't have 2-3 guys when they pick World 15 that's in contention or in the team, then there's no chance you can win Super Rugby. And I think at this stage, the Champions Cup is the same. If you don't have those star players, if you don't have those superstars in your team, then you just can't compete with those other teams that do have those superstars in their team.
Victor, would you change the law? You know very well that New Zealand has a law that if you want to play for the All Blacks, you've got to play in New Zealand. Do you think that's valid for South Africa? I mean, are you pro or con?
So in the beginning in South Africa, I was actually against it because of my background of Super Rugby, and I knew if we lose those top guys, then you can't compete. Russia has changed my mind. Firstly, I think a lot of our budget, 80% of the South African budget, goes to your top 20 players in South Africa. All of a sudden, that's all gone overseas. And now France, Japan, these guys are paying the big salaries for these players. All of a sudden, there's more money for us to develop our younger players. There's also opportunities. A lot of these guys won't be playing URC if those top players were in South Africa. So they'll take a year or two before they get the opportunity. Now they get that opportunity at the younger level. So I think we're working hard on our depth there. I always thought, especially at provincial level, you miss out on that IP of those seniors players because the juniors learn more from the players they play with than from the coaches. But somehow we're getting back, maybe guys past their base that comes back and give a lot of that back. And then on the other side for the Springboks, I mean, I played with Farid Apri, and when he played for us before he went to Japan, he was probably the best player in the world. But when he got back from Japan with the 3 years with Santori and Eddie Jones, he was a completely different. And then he was 20, 30 times better than when he was just playing for the Bulls, only seeing the same things and believing in the same things. So, I think for South Africa it worked. If you look at soccer, if you look at any other professional game, I mean, guys should go earn their money at clubs, and it should be an honor playing for your country. So, again, if you look at some of the New Zealand guys, I follow the Japanese league pretty closely because I'm helping Eddie Jones there with the national side. But I mean, if you can have Mohanga, Frizzell, those two guys are, the impact they've got in that Japanese league is just unbelievable. If New Zealand can have just those two guys, maybe Brody Rotaric still available, the impact those three players will have in the New Zealand side will be massive.
What do you think, Jacko?
I think you should earn the right. So if you've played 50 or 60 tests, let's just decide what. Then maybe we should allow 2 or 3 players and it should be merit-based. So you played 60 or 70 tests, then you can go overseas. I didn't really consider what Victor said about, freeing up some of that money. I'd say it'd be the same in New Zealand. The top sort of 6 or 7 players are getting the majority of the money. I don't understand these sabbaticals, these financial sabbaticals. I know Rico, Geordie's gone overseas. Because for me, it's a little bit hypocritical because, we're resting our super players when they're at home, which I don't think helps the tournament. But we'll let our top players go away on what I call a financial sabbatical to Leinster or to Japan, and then they come back and play. So for me, I struggle with that. There's got to be, I don't struggle it from a player's point of view because I think it's fantastic. I think Geordie would have loved it. I think Rico, like you said before, Victor, will grow as a person around going over and seeing different countries and stuff. But from a professional point of view, I don't quite get it. For me, it's a little bit hypocritical where we protect players in our own competition, but then they can go overseas and play in the off-season and then come back and play for the All Blacks. So I think we need to get rid of this whole rest thing and work out a better way to do it because I don't like when they rest All Blacks during Super Rugby because I think it devalues the competition.
So I'm on your side as well there, John. Looking at our players, the same thing. You get into the critical time just before the playoffs or whatever, and then all of a sudden the Springboks say, listen, we need these guys rested. You want your best players to play in the top games. And we were quite a few of the old players who were pretty upset with our unions as well in the Champions Cup. When you go over for a quarterfinal or something, all of a sudden your 5 top players, Springboks, aren't going over to go play in that game. And I said it. Back in the day in Super Rugby, if we went over and we had to go play the Crusaders or earlier days the Blues, you actually knew the chances of winning was not very big. But you would send your best team to go and have a go at it. You don't send the B team and throw the game away. So I still struggle with that part. When there's a big challenge, when you play the best teams, you want your best players to go out there and show what they can do.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I know you're both going to go off and do your ice baths. So thanks very much for joining us on Rivals. We'll find a few more things that you can agree with and lots of things that you can disagree with.
Thank you very much.
Victor doesn't do ice baths. He does, buddy. What is that? What is that drink you drink in South Africa, Victor? What's it called, buddy?
Brandy and Coke.
Yeah. Shit, mate.
It's got ice in it. It's got ice in it, though.
I'll be waiting for you when you get over to South Africa. Nice ice, but real Coke, not Diet Coke. You have to have full cream.
No, thank you. We'll have an ice bath. I need to talk to you.
Then an ice bath after.
I need to talk to you both about the second half of your life and how you're looking after yourself. But that's for another episode.
Okay, we'll talk about it.